Welcome back to Atalanta Diaries, the place where meaningful conversations with breakthrough women come to life. I'm your host, Enma, and I'm thrilled to embark on season 3 alongside all of you. After a much needed break, back with a renewed energy, I hope to make these conversations even more enriching and meaningful. I do want to express my gratitude to all my supporters and cheerleaders who have introduced me to Atlantas who they believe deserve celebration and whose stories are bound to inspire others. I hope these stories will empower you as you create your own narratives, leaving a lasting impact on the world around you. In case you've missed any episodes from the previous seasons, do visit my website www.enmapopli.com. Your feedback is incredibly valuable to me. Therefore, please don't hesitate to share any suggestions or ideas you may have to further evolve Atalanta Diaries. Hi, listeners. Today, rather than sharing with you one more amazing story, I want to take the time to speak my mind about something that took me through a range of emotions, from despair to awareness to understanding and even more commitment. What caught my attention was an article in the Wall Street Journal titled "What's Holding Back India's Economic Ambitions?" The premise was that since only 24% of women in India are actively part of the workforce, this was not allowing India to really achieve its ambitions. While it was an economist's view of the problem, for me it struck too close to home. Of course, the article validated my mission of Atalanta Diaries, and that there was a need to not only celebrate women who had navigated through these odds, but also to use their stories to inspire and encourage women to chart their own journeys through these rather stacked odds. I do want to go back to the article, its premise, and my learnings from the conversations I've had the privilege to have and my own experiences. Firstly, let's agree that women employment pretty much everywhere in the world is lower than male employment. So while the issue may be worrying in India, the challenge really exists in all countries. The article highlighted two main issues. One, the reason for lower employment was lack of job creation, which has led to extreme competition. And second, a big reason why women are not making it is because of conservative societies. Here, my perspective is that job creation is an economic cycle. And even when the US reported record employment, the percentage of women in the workforce continued to be less than men. I believe the larger cause lies elsewhere. I believe that the bigger factor is a deeply held view that a woman's place is only at home, fulfilling the role of the nurturer. Something that has been embedded into our psyche for many generations and enforced through literature, art, and religion. The article focuses on the fact that 76% of the women don't work. I want to flip the iceberg and say, let's look at the 24% that did manage to get out to work. And let's see how did they do it. Let's celebrate it and use those stories to motivate the 76% that did not work. Today, education for women is getting a lot more traction, and literacy rates amongst women are definitely rising. But even here, the assumption is that an educated woman will create a household of educated people and raise the children in a better way. Education is still not being seen as a path to financial independence. And this takes me to my conversation with Madhura Dasgupta, who started Aspire for Her in year 2020, with the ambitious goal of wanting to add 1 million women to the workforce by 2025 and 10 million by 2030. This goal was triggered by her disappointment with the gender data, which shared that India was at the bottom in terms of economic participation of women, and there had been a sharply declining trajectory in terms of women workforce participation for the past 15 years. The narrative Madhura was pushing was again financial independence. In Madhura's words, and this is just a small extract from our insightful conversation, if you're financially independent, not just if you have money, you can actually walk out of all kinds of distress in your life. You can walk out of an abusive relationship. You can walk out of a bad marriage. You can walk out of any bad situation because you can take your own calls. So, financial independence stands as a foundational solution to the numerous challenges that women encounter. And this takes me to the journeys of several women with whom I had insightful conversations, including Dr. Etty Zilber, Dr. Mona Lisa Sur, Bhavani Vadlamuri, and Sandhya Gupta and Sandhya Rao. They stand as a testament to the pivotal roles their parents played, pushing them for quality education, careers, and sometimes even at great personal costs. I had a very insightful conversation with my inaugural guest, Dr. Loretta Chen. She brought spotlight to the mothers by authoring a book called Mother, where she had illuminated the significance of mothers and the pivotal roles diverse mothers have fulfilled as nurturers. And I'm still in awe of Bhavani and her mother. Bhavani is currently serving as the Vice President of MRO Digital at GE Aerospace in Cincinnati, USA. And I'm going to quote her words. Enma, my mother is not so educated. And I think in her days, she passed probably 7th grade. So she definitely understands the importance of education. And my dad, he was a truck driver. They struggled to make ends meet. But I don't recall my mom ever telling me to do any household chores. In fact, she did that extra work. Although there were not a lot of jobs in that small town, she sold milk. And she set aside that funding for me and my brother so that we could go to a convent, even though at that point she couldn't afford it. It's clear that the seed of understanding the significance of financial independence amongst women is planted early on by both parents. A mother who encourages a daughter to step out of the house, and a father who ensures the financial and psychological safety to the daughter to deal with the naysayers in the immediate society. This morning, I was having a conversation with another amazing guest, a force of nature, Devita Saraf. Devita started her entrepreneurial journey at the age of 24 and is the richest self-made woman in India under 40. I will be featuring her in Atalanta Diaries in the next few weeks. I absolutely admired Devita's honesty and candidness, with which she did not hesitate to share that she is a daughter of a rich father. She and I spent a lot of time talking about the Wall Street Journal article. She believed that a part of the 76% of women who are not in the workforce consist of women from privileged backgrounds. In Devita's words, they don't see any reason to be financially independent. Their content being trophy wives or having sugar daddies. They believe if you're a rich dad's daughter and working, people look at you strangely. And some also believe that it's too much effort. Education, in Devita's view, was only an investment for a better marriage partner. And this takes me to my earlier comment on upbringing and values. How much are we pushing when young? Reflecting on the tribe Devita talked about serves as a reminder of the pivotal role a sense of purpose can play. The impactful initiatives spearheaded by my guests, including Abha Narayan Lamba, Archana Chandra, Dr. Laini Carter, Shaheen Mistry, and Fatin Arafin, serve as prime examples. As a result, work in fact transforms into an enjoyable, fulfilling pursuit, seamlessly intertwined in the overarching journey. When I asked Abha if she will ever retire, her instant reply was, I hope not. I hope to die with my boots on. My work and my personality can't be divided into two different silos. Listening to all these trailblazers, I think the trajectory one follows while striving for a purpose is uniquely compelling. Therefore, I strongly believe reiterating to women the significance of embarking on a purposeful journey is a dialogue that must begin in the formative years, initiated within the family by parents and other influencers. I also believe that teachers can be amazing role models and influencers. Contemplating on my own journey from school days to the present, I recall my history teacher. We used to call her Pari fondly, who role modeled a certain kind of being. And I can with conviction say that she played a huge role in shaping not only my personality, but that of many of my schoolmates. At a time when high heels was a rarity, Pari ma'am fearlessly defied convention by embracing them encourage us to aspire, and challenge the status quo. You were truly an inspiration, Pari ma'am. Coming back to the subject, I remain steadfast in my belief that initiating these conversations at an early age lays the groundwork for nurturing resilient and mentally strong women. This solid foundation equips them with the necessary tools to confront challenges such as imposter syndrome, conscious and subconscious biases, and other setbacks. And this reminds me of my conversation with Radha Kesar, an award winning mathematician. Radha offered such a profound perspective, something she had personally worked on. She said some individuals might possess greater intelligence than you, and that's perfectly fine. You can still make valuable contributions without being the most brilliant mathematician globally. Her integrity struck me deeply, and it boils down to that mental strength which allows you to bring your authentic self to every interaction. When we provide women with strong support in their youth, they also understand and recognize the importance of having mentors, allies, and partners who play crucial and supportive roles by providing safe and nurturing spaces. I can say with conviction that almost every one of the Atlantas I've interviewed thus far have had cheerleaders in their journeys. Whether this staunch advocate took the form of a father, mother, spouse, partner, or a supportive boss, the presence of such a cheerleader is invaluable. Do consider listening to the narratives of Dr. Laini Carter, Nandini Diaz, Manisha Girotra, Jenny Dearborn, or Pooja Jasrani. Their stories underscored the fact that it was not a matter of choosing either one path or another, but rather embracing the power of both in unison. For the few who did not have the fortune of having a strong cheerleader, they had built their own mental strength and resilience to be their own cheerleader. However, even they shared that if they had cheerleaders, the journey would have been that much easier. I call upon all of you listeners. We need you to be cheerleaders, to support, to encourage, to enthuse, and to excite. Let's change the narrative and encourage women to not just pursue education, but financial independence. Not at the cost of giving up on the role of being the nurturer, but like all my Atlantas, embracing both the roles in harmony. As I wrap up these contemplations, I'm reminded of my insightful conversation with Claude Pellerin, who started her authentic French restaurant, The French Lady in Michigan, and award-winning film producer Swati Shetty, who mustered the courage to step out of her comfort zone, leaving her confinement behind, and embarked upon a new chapter in LA. And Fatih Narifin from Brunei, who advocates for challenging the sense of complacency within her fellow citizens to propel them out of their comfort zones with the aim of nurturing more leaders. Just like the empowering message on the t-shirt I gifted to my niece Kyra, girls can do anything. And if you don't believe me, stay tuned to Atalanta Diaries, where eventually you will witness my journey of uncovering trailblazing women across diverse professions, across geographies, solidifying the truth of this assertion. Next week, I will be interviewing Shabnam Birmani, an award-winning documentary filmmaker and artist and founder of the Kabir Project. And do make sure you listen to it till the very end. Do share with me your comments and feedback on these musings. And more importantly, please share these stories, as you never know. You may be instrumental in inspiring the next Atlanta. Thank you for being a part of this incredible journey with Atalanta Diaries. I have had the privilege of hosting guests who courageously shared their most vulnerable selves with me. And even if only a small segment of these conversations can champion the journey of one person, it will be worth each and every moment. And together, we know we can create an even greater impact. So I do have a humble request for you. If you found value in these episodes, please consider sharing the podcast with your friends, family, and on your social media. I would also love to hear your thoughts and will really appreciate if you could take a moment to leave a review or rating. See you next week for another inspiring journey on Atalanta Diaries.